Traditionally, I have prepared some joke. Because during 2 days, 2 years, we have to speak about management, strategy, logistics, cost control, etc. And I think it's necessary to have some smooth approach. Alors, ma slide is in English, mais je parle en français. Parce que nous avons deux promotions, une promotion anglaise et une promotion française, et donc il est un peu nécessaire de mettre l'accent sur ces choses. Donc voilà ma proposition. Nous approchons la période de Noël et je vous ai préparé un petit cadeau de Noël sur les dangers du management scientifique. Et donc nous commençons par cette parabole. Nous sommes une petite fourmi productive. Chaque jour, nous arrivons très tôt au travail, le matin, et nous passons le temps à travailler, et nous chantons tout le temps dans la joie. Nous sommes contents, et nous sommes toujours heureux, nous sommes performants, excellents, mais il y a un problème, comme dans toute situation heureuse. Nous travaillons sans la supervision de gradués. Ça, c'est un grand problème. Donc, chacun le Chief Executive Officer de la compagnie pense que ça ne peut pas continuer. Et donc, il va créer une position managériale et il décide d'engager une coccinelle qui a une grande expérience. Compte tenu de sa forte position, nécessairement, notre coccinelle va essayer de contrôler les activités de notre petite fourmi. Donc, elle a un système de navette, et ensuite elle décide d'engager une secrétaire spéciale pour préparer les documents, coordonner le travail, faire du reporting et d'autres activités bureaucratiques. Et puis ensuite, bien entendu, on recrute aussi une araignée pour le côté. Donc, pour la gestion des archives, le monitoring. Donc, notre petite fourmi continue quand même à travailler. Et elle est toujours productive. Bien entendu, notre ami, Chief Executive Officer, est tout à fait satisfait de la production de notre coccinelle, de ses études comparatives, de ses productions d'indicateurs, de ses produits graphiques et de ses analyses de presse, ce qu'on appelle gentiment en langue. Donc, il est nécessaire à ce moment-là d'engager le CAFA pour assister le manager et on achète un nouvel ordinateur bien entendu avec une laser. Bien entendu, tout cet empilement de spécialistes du management crée une certaine dépression chez notre petite fourmi qui commence à avoir sa productivité baissée. À ce moment, notre Chief Executive Officer considère qu'il est temps de prendre des mesures. Donc, il crée une nouvelle position pour superviser le travail de notre petite fourmi. Cette position, il attribue à une cigale. Okay? Et bien entendu, notre cigale commence par changer l'ensemble des éléments de son bureau, qui inclut la carpette et ensuite un siège ergonomique, plus un écran 3D, pas de panel de 45 pouces. Et je crois que. Voilà. Bien entendu, le nouveau chef en position a besoin de reconduire un système. Voilà, il recrute un scorpion, qui était son assistant personnel dans une précédente vie, on va le dire comme ça. Et donc, l'objectif est de préparer l'optimisation stratégique, le contrôle budgétaire dans le niveau des entreprises. Et bien entendu, pour faire tous ces travaux et ces planifications stratégiques, eh bien, on engage finalement 3 émissions de déclaration, vraiment très efficaces. Pendant ce temps, bien entendu, vous pouvez l'imaginer facilement, notre petite fourmi, eh bien, elle commence à fatiguer sérieusement, sa productivité baisse. À ce moment-là, nous engageons nos cigales pour contrôler tout ce qui va se passer. Et en examinant les résultats que nous produit notre cigale, à ce moment-là, on s'aperçoit que la productivité a beaucoup baissé et la profitabilité de même. À ce moment-là, on décide d'engager un prestigieux consultant qui est chez nous, qui va nous faire un audit. Donc, il va nous faire la mission, la vision, etc. Après 3 mois de mission, bien entendu, notre équipe arrive à la conclusion suivante. Le département est finalement en abstrait. Là, il y a trop de personnel là. De conclusion, notre chief exécutif officier, ce que je dis, est issu de recommandation et il vient notre petite fourmi qui met des trucs. Pour éviter, d'abord, ne soyez jamais trop productif dans une organisation parce que finalement, ça doit se voir rapidement. Donc, conclusion, il vaut mieux que vous soyez compétent, profiteur, et que vous ne fassiez rien, parce qu'à ce moment-là, tout le monde le saura, et vous n'aurez pas besoin de contrôleur. Ça, c'est important. Donc, ne soyez jamais trop satisfait et content, parce qu'à ce moment-là, ça se vérifie. Donc, ça peut être fait. Maintenant, si vous voulez vraiment faire un programme, et bien à ce moment-là, il faut que vous créez votre propre organisation. Ok? Et puis à ce moment-là, vous n'aurez pas besoin de scorpions, de cigales, etc. Et finalement, cette parabole est basée sur une étude scientifique qui montre que finalement, nous générons toujours dans nos organisations toujours plus complexes de plus en plus d'individus et ça tout cela atteint à devenir totalement parasitaire. Je vous remercie de votre attention. Merci.
Good evening. I would like to welcome our guests tonight, the parents, families and friends, including also the members of the faculty and the administration. But a special welcome goes to the members of the class of 2014. Congratulations already to your graduation tonight. I probably understand that what stands between you and a very nice party tonight is my speech and myself. And therefore I'll try to be short, at least as short as a professor can be. Which will be a little longer than short for anyone else in the world. You also know, as participants of the EMBA, that one of my favorite topics is growth. And while economies and companies are growing, there is also our own personal growth. When I was a kid, for example, my grandmother, she just turned 95 last week, by the way, she always greeted me by saying, "God, how you have grown." And then she always marked at the door how much I have grown. And I was always delighted. There is nothing you want more as a kid if you are 9, 10, 11 years old than to grow. Kids have a natural desire to grow. Then if we turn adults at 18 or 20, we are considered grown-ups. That means our biological growth has come to a sudden end. However, the growth of our personalities is just about to begin. Growing as a person is something that you have to do throughout your whole lives. And therefore, for me, the MBA is first and foremost a personal growth experience. And I would like to briefly talk about 3 things related to this personal growth experience. The first is, why do you grow as a person? Definitely like more the animals before in my speech. Sorry for that. So the first one is, why is the MBA allowing you for a personal growth experience? How do you really grow in your personality during the MBA? And how does this personal growth continue now that you have the MBA in your pocket? So first of all, maybe, why does the MBA cause personal growth? One thing is that the MBA provides you with the time that is needed for personal growth. Growth cannot be forced. It develops, it happens in its own particular rhythm. In our highly scheduled business lives that we all have during your jobs, there is not much time for reflection and for thinking about personal growth. So the MBA was also a way of giving you that time to grow. Another aspect is that the MBA provides a lot of new insights to stimulate fresh thinking. For some of you, it may have been the massive exposure to teamwork here during the MBA. For others, it may have been new disciplines that you have never really looked into before, from finance and accounting to marketing and strategy that brought new insights. And these insights are important because I think they allow you to really think in what ways to grow as well. And finally, maybe most importantly, the MBA is a real challenge that you have to tackle. And growth comes from shocks to the system, personal crises that spur new growth. Winter grains, for example, are planted in autumn and then have to survive ice and snow in the winter before they finally then lead to growth in the next summer. In warm areas of the world, and that's interesting, farmers freeze the grains. Because without the freezing, there wouldn't be such a rich harvest in the summer. So if I translate it to your situation, I assume that every participant here in the room had, from now to then, they had some cold shocks during the MBA. It could have been the first financial accounting class, definitely was to me during my studies. It could have been when you were working on a home assignment the whole weekend while it was 30 degrees outside and the family would like to do something else. It may have been some conflict during group assignments that happen all of the time. But now looking back, I think it has been exactly these little personal life crises, if you want. During the MBA, that took you out of your comfort zone and really forced you to continue developing your personality. So there are good reasons, incentives, and opportunities during the MBA to grow as a person. The second question is then, how exactly did you grow as a person during the MBA? One important learning, I think, is the knowledge that you can do it. Now, you manage your personal lives, your professional challenges, and the MBA on top of it, and you were successful. Imagine what you can do now that this added burden of the MBA is gone. You learn a lot about how to manage yourself, how to be efficient and effective in what you do. A second point is you have seen the world, or at least let's say as far as management is concerned. That means in your daily jobs, I think most of you have most of the time some very specific assignments. You only see the tip of the iceberg. The advantage in the MBA is that you have seen all facets, all disciplines of management and how they are connected. And that gives you a broader perspective. And having a broader perspective also means seeing more opportunities that you didn't even think of before the MBA. And finally, maybe most importantly, you have made new friends at the MBA. People that are special, that are insightful and great fun to be with. Many may talk about networks that you have created. I talk about friendship. Friends are better than networks, definitely. And these friends, they help a lot. They are a great source of motivation and support for your personal growth during the MBA, but also far beyond the MBA in the next years. That leads me to my final question. How does it continue now, your personal growth journey? As of today, you have officially made it. You earned your MBA. You can be proud of that. It's a great achievement and you should definitely take the opportunity to celebrate tonight. The MBA diploma represents your past success, but it's also a foundation, a stepping stone for the future growth. What we want out of life, you, me, our guests tonight, is a very personal thing. It really differs from person to person. Some of you may be perfectly happy where they are at the moment, and you will continue your successful path within the company, the organization you are working for at the moment. But then there will be others that see this MBA as a turning point, if you want, as a stepping stone towards something quite different. Let's have a look at two perfectly average MBA students, okay? And what they did after their MBA experience. Look at this guy, okay? You may not believe it, but this guy earned an MBA in 1975. After receiving his MBA, he went drilling oil in Texas. Then he managed a baseball team, finally became governor of the state of Texas, and, believe it or not, in 2000, George W. Bush became the 43rd president of the United States. Or take this guy. He was a basketball player when he got his MBA in 2005. His MBA allowed him then to complete a PhD in education. He then became a very successful hip-hop producer with several platinum records. And today he is working as an active police officer at the LAPD arresting drug dealers. So you see there is nothing you cannot do with your MBA, you know? And if these guys can do it, you can definitely do it, I would say. I'm convinced that what you have learned over the last years, the friendships you have built, and the reflection you have about yourself, will allow you to continue your own personal growth path wherever it will lead. I wish you the passion, strength, and courage to realize your dreams. All the best to you, and congratulations. Thank you very much. It's a pleasure for me to announce our testimonial coming directly from an MBA graduate, so from someone who knows a lot better how the experience doing the MBA is than I could ever have the experience. I am pleased to welcome Alain Colli, who is the Director General at EPI, Établissement Public pour l'Intégration, and even more importantly, he is an MBA alumni from the class of 2009, and will definitely show you that there is a very, very rich personal course experience. Please welcome Alain Colli.
Good evening to all of you. It's a great honor for me to be in front of you in this university for this graduation ceremony. I'm usually talking in French, as you can hear. Speaking French to Swiss politicians in order to get some financial means, human resources to do my job. So it is quite a nice change to talk to leaders of tomorrow. 5 years ago, as I was sitting in the class, celebrating or waiting to celebrate my graduation, I can remember that my feelings were mixed. I was relieved that this long distance run was over, as it is quite a challenge to juggle during 2 years with the job, with the family life, and the hard work requested by the MBA. But I must say that I also had a kind of baby blues after everything was over. No more stimulating discussion with MBA colleagues, and no more good excuses to get out to get some beers. Nevertheless, the morning after the graduation, I was still wondering if this MBA was going to be useful for me, for my life, for my career. And I must say that today, 5 years later, it is easier for me to answer. Of course, I learned a lot about accounting. I didn't like it. About change management, thanks to Mr. Probst, who was at that time at least the teacher of this discipline. Still is? Okay, well, alright. Thanks to Jean-Yves Mercier for human resources, I learned how to maximize profit, how to elaborate business plan, how to mitigate risks. I also learned the virtue of cutting dead wood, thanks to Professor Morin. But more than that, I learned about the fact that everything is linked, and we have to deal with all these matters in the same time. Understanding business law is useless if you don't understand the basic of marketing. The understanding international strategy is pointless if you are not able to manage across cultures. And I understood that if the final aim is to create value in a company, if it is not to improve directly or indirectly the world, then all our actions are useless. In creating value for employees, for customers, for government, you also create appropriate conditions for a better world. Of course, the statement might appear for some people as a bit naive, but deep inside me I'm convinced that there is no irreconcilable argument between making profit and take action to change and improve the world. In this sense, I understood that corporate social responsibility must not be only a communication strategy. Since 2.5 years, I am now General Director of an institution taking care of mentally disabled persons, and I'm convinced that if I got the job, it is not because I had one more line in my resume, but because I had this very deep conviction that things can be changed. Today, as the General Director of the AP, I have over 1,400 employees. I run 6 restaurants, 3 shops, develop activities for more than 600 companies in Geneva. And in order to achieve this mission, the government is giving me 60 million to run my business. But my budget is over 100, and so I have to generate 40 million each year. I can do it, and I succeed since 2.5 years, and I hope it will continue because of the keys I received during this MBA, and I'm very thankful about that. Tonight, if I have one thing I really want you to remember about my speech, is that as tomorrow leader, if you are convinced that in your decision you can improve the world, you will generate more profit and you will help people to live better. Thank you very much.
Thank you very much. It is a great pleasure to introduce Anton Affentrager. Mr. Affentrager is the CEO of EMBA, Switzerland's leading construction services company. Mr. Affentrager graduated in economics here at the University of Geneva. He just told me that he was also sitting in this nice room here some time ago. He worked 17 years then for UBS in New York, Hong Kong and Geneva, as well as in Zurich as a member of the Executive Management Board. Since 1998 he held positions of CEO at Bombardier, CFO at Bosch, and then first chairman and now CEO at EMBA. He's also the founder of Affentrager Associates and president of several startup companies, but especially he's the living proof of the exciting careers you can build on the foundations of a degree that has been granted by the University of Geneva. It's an honor to have you with us tonight as our keynote speaker, so ladies and gentlemen, please welcome Anton Affentrager.
Dear graduates, congratulations. You have, I understand, spent a number of weekends investing yourself into this program. If there's something I always like to say, you can make wrong investments. It happens to me all the time. You can make wrong choices, wrong career choices. It happened to me as well. But what you carry now after your program, the education that you have in your back, nobody absolutely nobody's going to take it away from you. So you finished your program, you learned, you have this experience, it's with you, take it with you. That's the core element that I'd like to pass on to you. When I was asked to be the keynote speaker, it's difficult to think, what about you speak? Well, first of all, I was very happy to be back in my alma mater, and in fact, it was 36 years ago that I was the last time in this room, sitting in an overcrowded room, listening to an economics lecture. And then I thought it's maybe a moment to share some thoughts. Let me share with you a couple of thoughts. I'd like to share with you what I observe in terms of change. I'd like to make certain observations and then to finish my keynote speech with theses, a couple of theses, maybe some advice. We live in a world which is incredible, in an incredible change. Just a couple of elements. The easy world of the good guy and the bad guy. You know, you might have seen Batman, you have certainly seen Batman, the movie, you have read the comics. You know, the CEO of the good CEO and the bad CEO, that was a simple world, you know, the good guy against the bad guy. Maybe that's the world I had when I was sitting in this room 35 years ago. Guess what? This simple world is gone. It's not so easy to tell who is now the good guy or the bad guy. Steady change means mega trends which are totally affecting society. Take skill society as a buzzword. In our company, for example, complex projects are not done in the traditional project room, with people all over the place, all over the globe, in fact, engaged in this, getting the best skills around the globe to develop a very specific project. Attention society. I'm sure you have also experienced this phenomenon of attention society. You want to have the attention yourself, your guy in the company, your family. Ease unlimited, all the time, immediately. Now, if you have a dream now, you're not going to plan it. A society that wants to have everything now. We get a contract, construct a complex, build and start tomorrow. Health style. Recharging batteries. It has become a total trend. Eco-lution. Corporate social responsibility. As a company, if you don't speak about corporate social responsibility, you are out of business. Social spinning, overcrowding, overfunding, social lending. What does this all mean in society? What does this all mean in terms of megatrends? Steady change, just to take a couple of additional megatrends. Growing and aging society, growing and aging population. I take Switzerland, we have an important vote this weekend coming up. Who is voting? Which part of society is voting? And the increasing part of an aging society that is taking a vote. What's the impact on me of an aging society? Urbanization, energy issues, climate issues, globalization. It's not a buzzword, it's a reality. It's also a reality of for example, construction company in Switzerland. I was visiting a project today in Geneva. We are sourcing globally. We have people going to the States to source, to South Korea to source, to Eastern Europe to source. These are realities to be tackled. These are fascinating realities to be tackled. These are fascinating risks and opportunities to be tackled that are up for you to grab. I take this quote from Maggie Thatcher going back to a speech he gave on November 8th, 1989 at the UN General Assembly. Change in future is likely to be more fundamental, more widespread than anything we have known hitherto. Change to the sea around us, change to the atmosphere above, leading in turn to change in the world's climate, which could alter the way we live in the most fundamental way of all. I would have never thought that manufacture would say this in 1989 at the UN General Assembly. Change CO2. Let's look at the evolution of CO2 concentration for over 400,000 years. You see the cycles, yes, we can change. No, over hundreds and thousands of years. But look at the concentration we have today. What does it mean? Give another example. 2000 of change. 2012, New York City Marathon was cancelled one day before the marathon. This is the largest sports event in the globe. We have thousands and thousands of people who come to New York City, and it never happened that the marathon was cancelled one day before the marathon. Why? The question I thought, why wasn't this possible? Well, there was a hurricane a few weeks ago, Sandy, that affected the city, the great places of the city. And I thought, why is it that in 2012 this was cancelled, and in 2001, after September 11, the marathon was not cancelled? In 2001, Facebook did not exist yet. The impact of social media within hours, the first weekend of November in 2012, the impact of social media on the then city of New York City, Michael Bloomberg, was so strong that he needed to change. Social media and the way social media is affecting society, is affecting companies, it's affecting the way companies are being run. The traditional, command structure, command and control structure on the left, it's not possible. I'm the CEO of a group, I have 7,000 people reporting to me. I cannot manage with this structure anymore. I get every day thousands, every hundreds of messages from the organization. And how do you manage these complex, much more complex, and how do you get the power out of this? How do you get to move these organizations? An organization. It is the power, it is the impact that you have in day-to-day management of companies of social media. The power of new power. Traditional in society, we are moving from a perspective of just consuming culture, consuming goods, or just sharing among each other, or maybe shaping into maybe funding, into maybe producing, to co-owning. What do I mean by this? I took this chart out of the latest Harvard Business Review magazine, just the December edition, a very interesting article which speaks about how power is evolving from a traditional, command structure, command management structure, into new power, where we share everything, where we are much faster, where we maybe don't think into the long run. One very interesting example, Obama, who used this new power to become president. And it worked twice. But the moment he became president, he was hooked into the old power. How to deal with this? An element of change. A few observations. I spoke about CO2. We know it. We know it for a long time. It's like driving on the highway. We're driving at 120 or 130 or 140 kilometers an hour. We see the wall and we continue. Simply carry on. We know there is no planet B. We know today we are consuming by far much more than our planet can live. And we continue. Observations. Observations. Is there empathy in society? Is there enough empathy in society? Look at this picture. I've been thinking about why was it that a year ago the Swiss voted for this kind of crazy immigration bill? Is it a question of empathy? Is it because in society we don't have empathy because we are scared to death? Because we don't listen to each other anymore? Observations in how to deal with change. I see this every day. I see this every day in our company. I'm too busy. I'm too busy to deal with change. Let me conclude with my thesis advice. Thesis 1. Black swans, they do exist. Until, I think it was until the end of the 18th, beginning of the 19th century, it was thought on the globe that we only had white swans and not black swans. Until I think it was the Brits discovered somewhere in Australia or New Zealand. Yes, indeed, there are black swans. So the theory that there were only white swans was wrong. So there are black swans, and maybe you have heard about the book about black swans. I guess the message I'm trying to convey you, life is full of opportunities. But you don't know when they come. That's a black swan. My advice, take it if it comes. Don't let those opportunities go. That's challenge. That's take on your black swans. Thesis 2. Let's use the power of our two brains. The ideas we have. One side of the brain and the other brain is just telling you, no, be careful, and the other side is, let's do it, and the other side is, there's nothing more dangerous than just to have one idea. Because if it's the wrong one, let's have thousands of ideas. And our brain can deal with them. Let's use the power of both ideas. Thesis 3. Intellect and rational analysis of projects and problems, they lead to interesting conclusions. But they don't lead to action. They don't lead to movement. You can move companies, you can move groups only with passion. Thesis 4. It's not management that makes the difference. It's people. It's as difficult and as easy as it is. I get confronted constantly, yes, work-life balance. We need to balance. You probably, with your weekends preparing for the EMBA, you thought about work-life balance. I'm just saying life is too short to speak about work and life. There is only one life. And this balancing of one thing to the other is just easy. Read this quote. Every morning in Africa, the gazelle wakes up. It knows it must outrun the fastest lion or it will be killed. Every morning in Africa, a lion wakes up. It knows it must run faster than the slowest gazelle or it will starve. It doesn't matter whether you are a gazelle or a lion. When the sun comes up, you better be running. Finally, if my first 5 theses don't work, just change the rules. Let's have once in a while the courage to change the rules of the game. Our challenge is to become the architects of the new things. Let me conclude. There's one piece of message I really would like to pass on here is this conclusion. Let's not remain neutral. And here I quote Dante. The hottest places in hell are reserved for those who in times of great crisis maintain their neutrality. Let me wish you all the best in your future, and thank you for your attention.
We will now proceed with the diplomas. So I'll be calling the diplomas one by one. Iben Agaveka, Julien Alexis, Douglas Astora, Julien Acadito, UniDufour Avenero, Nicole Deschton, Johnny Boban, Isabelle Bonfort. Denis Forsage, Lorenzo Garoli, Martin Andy. Sim, Evo 6, Sylvia Summer, last row, Carlo Tursi, Cédric Vincent, David Rossi, Thomas Wendensberger. Now for the awards. The first Best in Class 2014 award, sponsored by Banque Mirabeau, will be presented by Fabian Smasha. Thank you.
Hello everybody, congratulations to the graduates. So, we will come back French. Mais avant, j'aimerais juste que les graduates ont été félicités par tout le monde, mais il y a des personnes juste derrière vous qui n'ont pas été félicitées encore, et qui sont vos familles, vos femmes, vos enfants. Je veux voir mon papa, il est où? Ça c'est très joli. Et j'aimerais que tous les graduates, si vous vous leviez, que vous tourniez vers la salle et vous applaudissiez vos familles, s'il vous plaît. C'est une affaire. Bravo. Vous les avez tous vus. Bravo. Vous avez supporté. Merci. Alors je représente le groupe Mirabeau, j'en suis directeur des ressources humaines. C'est un groupe bancaire, enfin je vais d'abord faire une page de pub si vous permettez, spécialisé dans la banque privée et l'asset management. Nous sommes 700 collaborateurs présents dans 5 places financières différentes. Voilà, je tourne la page de pub. Et je veux quand même remercier aussi, évidemment, vous, les graduates, mais également les professeurs et toutes les personnes qui les assistent, Sœur et son équipe, qui font un gros travail. Je veux les remercier, pourquoi? En fait, je n'ai pas la légitimité de les remercier, mais je pense à un adage biblique qui dit « Le monde appartient aux hommes qui étudient ». Aux hommes, aux femmes, bien sûr. Et je suis convaincu que la différence se fera sur la connaissance et sur les compétences. J'ai dit la même chose l'année dernière, mais vous n'étiez pas là, donc vous ne pouvez pas savoir. Donc, merci à vous tous d'avoir dépensé toute cette énergie pour apprendre et faire que finalement quelque chose sera mieux. C'est ce qu'a dit monsieur Afin tout à l'heure, c'était vraiment très juste, j'ai trouvé son discours vraiment excellent. Et c'est parce que vous avez étudié que vous allez finalement nous aider à changer quelque chose. Alors je voudrais vous entretenir pour, assez brièvement concernant ce discours, quelque chose qui me tient beaucoup à cœur parce que je le vois au quotidien. Et je le vois au quotidien notamment chez des personnes qui viennent postuler chez nous dans les entretiens de recrutement. Je perçois quelque chose, et ça depuis des années. Ça me tient à cœur et c'est le sens profond des choses. Vous avez choisi un métier, une carrière avec toute leur complexité. La question c'est vous l'avez choisi pourquoi? Est-ce que c'est un job comme les autres que vous avez choisi, une vocation? Si vous ne mettez pas en relation le sens profond que vous donnez à votre choix, alors ce sera un job comme les autres, et franchement dit, comment je peux dire ça? Bref, vous allez vous emmerder en fait. Et ça, c'est pas très intéressant ni pour vous, ni pour une entreprise. Il y a un autre adage en entreprise qui m'a marqué il y a quelques années. Quelqu'un m'avait dit, il y a des collaborateurs qui meurent à 40 ans et que l'on enterre à 65, quand on les remercie pour bons et loyaux services avec une chane ou autre cadeau traditionnel. Tout le monde connaît le burn-out, c'est assez classique. Malheureusement, on ne connaît pas assez le bore-out, donc on ne s'en méfie pas assez. Mais c'est une réalité. Et nous sommes toujours, en tant que RH en fait, à la recherche du croisement des compétences et des challenges pour avoir de la motivation. Donc c'est intéressant pour nous d'avoir des gens qui donnent du sens à leur travail, qui ont de la motivation, qui ont de la passion pour ce qu'ils font, parce qu'on va pouvoir leur donner des challenges et on va pouvoir obtenir de la motivation parce qu'ils ont des compétences et vous avez des compétences. Donc, nous avons besoin de réfléchir au sens que l'on donne à nos actions pour ne pas être des personnes qui meurent à feu doux. Vous connaissez tous certainement cette histoire de la petite grenouille que l'on plonge dans de l'eau, froide, et qui, si elle est portée à ébullition, petit à petit, elle va mourir sans s'en rendre compte. L'eau va devenir tiède, puis chaude, puis frémissante, puis bouillante, et finalement, la grenouille va mourir et elle ne va pas s'en apercevoir. Donc le sens profond, c'est ce que l'on doit vraiment efforcer, c'est un conseil en fait, que je pourrais partager avec vous, ou une conviction plus qu'un conseil que j'aimerais partager avec vous. Et finalement, ces commentaires, je les fais en relation avec cette expérience que j'ai de nombreux recrutements que je mène de ces dernières années. Quoique par rapport à l'expérience, j'ai vécu dernièrement dans une séance de travail une discussion assez animée entre un manager d'expérience, un manager d'un certain âge, on va dire, et puis un jeune ingénieur. Et le manager, dans la discussion, en l'occurrence, il dit à ce jeune analyste, il dit oui, mais moi j'ai de l'expérience. Et le jeune analyste lui a répondu, l'expérience c'est toujours un critère d'usure, mais pas toujours un critère de pertinence. Et ben, ça c'est une grande claque, une grande réflexion sur l'expérience. Donc le sens profond des choses, le pourquoi de nos actions, c'est une réflexion aujourd'hui, par exemple, que nous provoquons chez les gestionnaires de fortune pour les aider à travailler l'authenticité qu'ils ont en face de leurs clients. Par exemple, un gestionnaire va se poser la question, on va le pousser à se poser la question, c'est quoi le sens de ton travail? Est-ce que c'est juste augmenter les actifs sous gestion? Est-ce que c'est juste augmenter le return on asset? Est-ce que c'est juste choisir la meilleure allocation d'actifs pour les portefeuilles? Ou bien est-ce qu'ils peuvent donner un sens supplémentaire à cette relation qu'ils ont avec leurs clients? Je voulais juste donner un exemple de cette conviction que j'ai qu'il faut donner du sens à son travail. Et la question c'est, est-ce que c'est ça que vous voulez? Donc ne cherchez que des choses extrêmement matérielles, c'est important bien sûr, mais est-ce que ça n'est que cela, ou est-ce que c'est aussi rechercher par exemple la préservation d'un capital, d'un patrimoine qui a été hérité, ou un capital pour permettre de... Il faut rien de parler. Je pense que... Non, je ne suis pas ça. Donc la sécurité, je voulais juste détendre un petit peu la... Et c'est voilà, finalement, comme vous pouvez être aussi le DRH d'une banque privée, d'une boîte de 200 ans d'existence, et faire dans cet environnement quelques plaisanteries. Donc, la posture que l'on adopte donc, est fondamentale pour créer une relation plus intense. Donc, moi je ressens, je terminerai juste avec ça, je ressens dans les interviews que je mène avec quelquefois des jeunes diplômés, je ressens cette dimension émotionnelle, cette conviction, ce sens qu'ils donnent à ce qu'ils ont envie de faire, cette passion qu'ils expriment. Ben, je peux vous assurer que dans un interview, ça fait vraiment la différence. Il y a un adage de recruteur qui dit on engage sur les compétences et on licencie sur les comportements. Ben, je peux vous assurer que vraiment il faut méditer ça. On engage sur les compétences techniques souvent et on licencie sur les comportements. C'est une réalité que je vis et que j'aimerais partager avec vous. J'arrête ici mes commentaires et je vais donc remettre le prix du Best in Class 2014. C'est un chèque d'un montant de 1000 francs que la Banque Mirabeau a le plaisir d'offrir à un étudiant. Cette année, il a une moyenne de 5,71 sur 6. Bravo! Et j'ai le plaisir de féliciter Monsieur Frédéric Lejal.
évolue. C'est la première fois que je suis le premier au juste un concours de circonstances. J'ai attendu plus de 40 ans. Je voudrais juste remercier ma femme et ma fille qui ont supporté 2 ans de travail et de labeur, qui ont occupé pas mal de tâches à ma place pendant ce temps-là. Alors, je voudrais les féliciter. Je voudrais aussi remercier l'ensemble des professeurs et des assistants, de tous les gens qui font que ça peut tourner, que ça peut exister. Certains sont présents. Donc, on peut les remercier. Et puis, il y a beaucoup de travaux en groupe, ça ne se fait pas tout seul. Alors, j'aimerais bien que tout seul et qui j'ai eu la chance de travailler se lève, s'il vous plaît. Lui aussi là-bas.
Le prochain prix, malheureusement, Monsieur Frédéric Bouvier vous prie de l'excuser, il a eu un empêchement de dernière minute. Donc, le prix du meilleur en International Management 2014 sera présenté par Monsieur Frédéric Peter, directeur Golf Pro du Country Club Unidad Berlin Range.
Bonsoir. Alors, chers diplômés, chers participants, bonsoir. Alors, j'ai eu un peu de surprise ce matin de savoir que j'allais faire le discours ce soir. Pas évident d'avoir le monde en face de soi. Mais bon, en fait, je suis un peu informé de tout ce qui se passe un peu dans le UFIL, parce qu'en fait, mon avis, c'est ça. On va mettre un peu une touche sportive dans cette remise de diplôme, parce que je pense qu'après 2 ans intensifs, je pense que c'est important de ne pas oublier son corps, et que moi, étant prof de golf, je vois très souvent en leçon des grands dirigeants, et je pense que d'être bien dans sa tête, d'être bien dans son corps, c'est très important pour affronter la vie de nos jours. Donc, je représente le Country Club Geneva, qui est un club multisport à Genève, et je pense le plus beau. J'espère que si vous avez des questions tout à l'heure, n'hésitez pas, et j'espère vous revoir à cet endroit. Donc ce soir, je suis heureux de remettre le prix du meilleur International Management 2014 à Monsieur Frédéric Lejal, avec
sorry, Frederick, for stealing your second prize. So first of all, okay, I'll do it in English because I did the English program.
First of all, I would like to thank my family who supported me during 3 years. It was not always easy, but it was really worth it. It was a nice journey. It was a nice journey. It was a long trip during 3 years. In the beginning, I didn't know exactly what I was talking, but dear professors, I think it was a great program. A lot of different topics that we touched on and discussed in depth. So thanks to you and thanks for the good program. Please continue like that. And also I would like to thank my fellow students because I will do like at Frederick. So the ones that did some good work with me, please stand up so you can also answer the call. This will stay a very nice family. You talked about growth. I think definitely this gave some growth in me due to all the exchanges we had. So once again, thank you and all the best to you.
The last award, not the least one, is for the Best Indie Project 2014, sponsored by Dr. Constantin and presented by Bernard Maréchal. Thank you.
So, ladies and gentlemen, good evening. I'm sure you are proud. Happy, tired, thirsty? So, on behalf of Vachon Constantin, I'm really delighted to be here tonight with you to celebrate your success. So, again, congratulations. Some words about Vachon Constantin. 260 years ago, a brilliant master watchmaker named Jean-Marc Vachon established his workshop in the heart of Geneva. That same year, he recruited an apprentice. This act expressed his desire to share knowledge related to his craft and transmit it further. We can see that it is not only the founding act of the manufacture itself, but also a first step in establishing one of the core values that our maison remains proud of, I mean the transmission of knowledge and know-how. The centrality of this transmission has now been reaffirmed by the creation 2 years ago of the Vachon Constantin Institute for Craft and Human Capital Development. Therefore, it seems very logical for Vachon Constantin to collaborate with the University of Geneva, since both institutions are dedicated to excellence in the transmission of knowledge and know-how. Some words about my personal experience. 1 year ago, I was here as a student, as you. I received my diploma. I was really proud, tired, and thirsty as well. What the MBA program taught me would be your question. Everything has already been said. But I can say again it. First, I learned about myself. I learned about my competencies, my abilities to manage challenges, and achieve my own goals. I learned as well points of improvement. My points of improvement. Self-leadership, you know. Secondly, I learned about others. To work in team, taking into consideration their competencies, their personality, and their point of view. and especially to rely on others to achieve challenges together. Teamwork, you know it. Difficult, you know it as well. Last but not least, I learned to take the chances that arise, like a new professional opportunities that I did it personally 2 years ago during my MBA within Vachon Confrontant. Somebody gave me my chance, I took it. So in conclusion, trust yourself, trust others, and take opportunities. It's really important and make a big change in your life. So thank you very much, congratulations, and I'm calling now for the team, the three. Thank you very much.
Dear guests, dear MBA team, and dear graduates. So, my name is Sakane Kunji. I also myself graduated from MBA 2 years ago. I present here dissertation committee to announce you the top 3 projects and the people who did the projects. So I will simply read them, and if the students who did the project can stand up and then we see them, and only the winner will be coming here, and the winner will be announced by the sponsor. This is what we are going to do now. So the top 3 I'm announcing. I am 3D's market entry strategy for Swiss market. By default, Bartol, Mazel, Iskandarani, Patrick Lucillo, Pietro Presti, Silvia Sommer. Next project, should Reagan Lab go forward in launching an US OA project for its novel cross technology? By James Force, Charles Tuzi, Fabio Valentini. And the next project is quelles sont les recommandations en vue en regroupement du service régional valaisan de transfusion sanguine avec transfusion interrégionale pour un groupe suisse. Maria Pia Altola, Asset Parkami, Civil MP70, Mark Vettovaglia. So I congratulate all of you, and then I let in announcement from the Marshal.
Okay, so the winner is the winner of the award for the best MBA project this year. Sorry. Should Reagan Lab go forward in launching a USA project?
I'll be more members. It's important.
I want to thank you, James Allcourse, who's been showing great leadership in the project to so many aspects. Fabio Valentini too, which is actually now in Boston, selling for Merck at the moment. And all of you guys for your support and friendship all along the program. A special thanks also for Professor Reich and also for Professor Probst. And also, of course, for Region Lab, the company I'm working for, and the Breakthrough Technology is now planning to launch in the US. Thank you very much.
Well, as a last speaker, it's up to me to say thank you, congratulate you, and a little bit also what's next. So first, thank you to my colleagues. Thank you, Bernard. Thank you, Sebastian, for great collaboration. Thank you to our guests, Alain Colli, Anton Affentranger, who had to leave, and I really regret it, but he had to take the plane back to Zurich. I think it's great that he came for this speech and made the time. Thank you to Fabien, Frédéric, Bernard, Michel. But also, and last but not least, and most importantly, I want to say thank you to lots of ladies. Some, Nadia, Gloria, and Anne, because actually they make it work, and I know that's where you go to complain. And then, of course, congratulations. I know some didn't get it, but so just if you have it not, go for a left and just kick it over, then you are all graduated and it looks good. But you know, with all this come now responsibilities. Responsibilities and expectations on a much higher level. And I really mean it. I mean it in the sense that you go into responsibilities in a different world. Tony Affentranger mentioned it. It's called or many call it now, the VUCA world. So, a volatile world, an uncertain world, a complex world, and full of ambiguities. And you have to deal with, in the future, I'm convinced, with really disruptive transitions and transformations. Now, why is this so important? The world actually realizes there is a huge lack of leadership. We did a research worldwide from the World Economic Forum that shows that 80% internationally call it a leadership crisis and have no more trust in leaders. 80%. Trust is a huge thing, and the trust in leaders was really lost in the last couple of years. 90% in China, by the way. 90% say there is a lack of trust because of corruption. 78% in Brazil. 80% in India, and I could go on. Now, we should take this seriously. No trust in a world where we actually need the leaders, and people look for leaders. If you want to have some good news, the highest, still on a very low trust base in general, the highest are the non-for-profit organizations. The second, the business leaders. The third, the least trusted are the government and international organizations leaders. And at the bottom are the religious leaders. Surprisingly, maybe not. But people do not trust anymore. They trust, or they look at leaders with inability to tackle complex issues, to tackle our big risks in the world, to deal with terrorism, extremism, and that's why even religious leaders today are not trusted anymore. There are challenges and opportunities ahead, as Tony Affentranger said. But there's, first of all, big challenges that I see for you, where you have to step up as leaders. I'm not sure that you realize, but the number one of risks that are seen by the top leaders of the world today, worldwide, and the number one is the disparity, or the growing disparity in income worldwide. Now you may be surprised, and that goes through Europe, Latin America, Asia, Africa. The disparity of income. 1% of the population today makes a quarter of the US income. 1% makes a fourth of the income of US. And I could go on with statistics like this, but I know you have enough of this. But you can imagine that this has a lot of conflict potential. The second is persisting jobless growth. Now this might be surprising for us too, because we are still pretty comfortable here. And we have economic growth. But even if you look at the economic growth, worldwide where economic growth is, what you see is that there are less jobs offered today. The percentage of not working people, I could say, now unemployed, the percentage of people between 25 and 55 tripled in my lifetime. So in 6 years, the unemployed people have tripled worldwide, including China. Where you are surprised because we all think that everything goes to China, that's where you have most growth. China sees more and more unemployed people. Why? And it's actually growing and it will grow in the future. Well, industrialization, automation, robots, and the future 3D print will not add new jobs. So we run in something where you will see there will be disparity, there will be issues that come up, social issues that we have to deal with, and there's many more. Security is one, geopolitical competition, nationalization that you see worldwide. I'm worried about nationalization because people start to think more on national, even if we all talk about Europe and uniting Asia, etc. But at the same time, what you see is much more nationalization that will not help in the future to solve what is called little problems or the complex problems where you actually have to collaborate. I think you, as a new generation of leaders, you will have a responsibility. And I really hope for you, and I wish you to be good leaders and managers that are, in that sense, based on the MBA, interdisciplinary in your thinking, systemic in your understanding, that you really understand to connect the dots and to be global, that you are aware of the risks and the impact these risks can have, and that you are tackling social, responsible management. I wish you all the best, and congratulate again. Thank you very much.
Thank you very much. The guests can now go to UniDufour, and the graduates can stay here for the last picture. Okay, stand up. And on count of 3, wait, the picture's not ready. So, you know that on count of 3, at 3, you throw your hat in the air. Thank you. So, you please look over here, up in the front. Okay, ready? Don't throw now. Okay, cut. 1, 2, 3.